Hello students. Yesterday we have seen the case of photodiodes, and also it is a revision topics and important topics for the discussions, and we have discussed a number of topics in the semiconductor devices chapter, and even in other chapters we will discuss it continuously. So let's see it continuously and try to learn it, try to see how much you have revised for your board examinations. And also we have seen that while using photodiodes and while using Zener diode, we were using the different types of characteristics of PN junction diode. Like in case of Zener diode, we have used reverse biasing, and also in case of photodiodes, we have used reverse biasing. So the region you have already know that the region behind it, the region actually lies. For their different properties they are showing in the reverse bias junction. So that's why for our applicative purpose we can take them. Like in case of photodiodes, we can measure the intensity of radiation while we are using reverse bias characteristics, and in forward bias characteristics it is not applicable for that region. Even the region is same as the PN junction, like we can get the electricity through it. So for that we can use PN junction diode. We don't have to use a photodiode for that region. So that's why we use it in reverse bias, and also so many applications I have told you for that. Even in case of Zener diode, we have seen that it is highly doped, and due to high doping, a Zener breakdown case that occurred in that. For that, any increase in voltage, there is no increase in current after the breakdown potential. So here a constant current is obtained at the breakdown potential at sudden. So after that you can use it as a regulator easily. So that's why the Zener diode we have used as the regulator. But still, if a question is asked to you, can we use Zener diode or photodiode in forward junction? Yeah, you can use it actually in forward junction, in forward biasing. Reason is that in case of forward biasing, obviously while we are using Zener diode or if we are using photodiodes, in both cases number of charge carriers are greater there. Because of high doping in case of Zener diode it is greater, and because of light intensity we are using, covalent bonds are breaking, so there the number of charge carriers is going to get. So only the difference from PN junction diode that will be here. At a small voltage we will get the high current, as in PN junction diode we were getting that current at large voltage. Only the difference that will occur there. So for this difference only, we don't have to use it in that, but still if you want to use it in forward bias then you can use it. Okay, now today let's see the other special purpose diodes, that is the solar cell and LEDs. So as you have seen that the LEDs, the what is the work of LED? Actually we use LED to convert electrical signal into light signals. With the help of LEDs we can convert it easily, and we are using actually LEDs in so many field this time. Different colors of LED we are using to make any bulb. We are using them to make the lights and other, actually in calculators and alarm system. So many places we are using it. In traffic lights we are using that. So what is the working behind here to convert any electrical signal into the light signal? Actually these two processes are the reverse process. In the second process, in solar cell process, we will convert the solar energy into light and into electrical signal, and here we are converting electrical signal into light signal. So the reverse process is here, but for these two processes we will use the forward bias condition of the PN junction diode. Region I will tell you later, but still just try to understand it one by one time. Even you have already studied it, so there is, I think already you know everything about it, but still we are going to make some revisions on that. So let's see that. So first of all, let's see the case of LEDs. So what is the LED means? That is light emitting diodes. Means the diode which can emit light, that is known as LEDs. And in case of LED, we use the forward bias junction. So first of all, let's see its circuit diagram. So this is was that this is a PN junction diode in which we have, suppose this is P side, this is N side, clear? And we have connected this P side to positive terminal of battery and N side to negative terminal of the battery by some metal contact to it. Give a metal contact to it to connect it here also. So after that we can connect here for this, and we can also connect a resistance here. Later I will tell you why we have to connect a resistance here. Suppose that R. So this is the circuit diagram for LEDs. Very simple circuit diagram it is. Only a PN junction diode we have, and we have to connect it in reverse bias condition by using a resistor in series with it. Clear? So what is the principle behind it? You know that I have just already explained you the band picture of solid. In band picture of solid, if suppose this is conduction band, this is valence band. So conduction of electrons takes place, or conduction of charge carriers in PN junction diode takes place whenever any electron that jumps from here to this conduction band. So that time we can say that the electricity is going to flow there. Means if any electron from its ground state, from its valence cell, it is going to any of its higher state or excited states, in that means that time we can see that here the conduction of system that is going to take place. So in this process I have just told you here energy band gap that occurs in the system, means the energy gap between conduction band and valence band. So if some electrons will go from here to here to recombine, or simple you can say that if suppose that electrons is coming from here also in conduction band, suppose holes are there, deficiency of electrons are here, okay, and electron is going to just fill this vacancy in the conduction band. So in that case actually here no concept of holes are here, but still we can understand it very easily in case of this. So if suppose that if electrons is going from here to here, or you can say that suppose that in here the electrons are already in the conduction band, and they here in valence band we have some holes, and electron is coming here to fill up this vacancy. So first of all just try to understand from here. Whenever we add some energy to the system, or sufficient energy that should be equal or greater than this band gap energy, so if we supply such a energy to this system, then in that case electron just goes from here valence band to conduction band. And if after some time suppose that these electrons are coming back from valence to conduction band to fulfill this the position of electrons, it is just like same as suppose in p-type materials we have holes, and in n-type materials there are electrons. So that electrons are crossing the junction in case of forward bias, and they are just fulfilling the position of deficiency of electron or holes. So in that case obviously there is the energy gap between these conduction to valence band. So to situate in this valence band, electron will release energy in forms of electromagnetic radiation that will be equal to the gap between these two bands. So the region here we are using is very simple. Also you can understand it by the spectroscopic way. You have already understood the spectroscopy. Whenever any electron that is going from its valence cell to any higher energy states, then after 10 power minus 8 second it again comes to its original state in normal state, because Maxwell told us that every system wants to be in its normal state. Normally if you are comfortable anywhere, then you will also try to be there. Means every system wants to be in comfortable state, in normal state, in ground state. So that's why we don't want to change our position. So if someone wants to change our position, so first of all we try to oppose it, or after some time if we have some property we can just come back to our position. So this is just like in while studying the motion, then linear motion, we have seen the case of inertia. Means due to inertia property, body will try to bring it in its original position. Due to elastic property, it will try to bring to its original position. So this is all the tendency of the system, that it will always try to remain in its stable condition. So for the atom, this case is also due to their cell property, they will always try to be in its ground state, in normal state. Clear? So after most of the actually states, 10 power minus 8 second is the lifetime, but still there are some states that is called metastable states. For their lifetime is 10 power 4 5 times greater than the normal states, but and that states we use while studying the case of lasers. So these states are very important for the laser emission, but here for light emission we are using only the normal states in case of LEDs. So here the theory is very simple. I think you have understood it. Whenever any electron that is going from its ground state to excited state, then after some time, after 10 power minus 8 second, it will again return to its excited state to ground state. And while returning, obviously from going here to here, it has gained some energy. Then from coming back, obviously the energy of ground state is lower than the excited state. So a difference of energy between ground to excited state that is released in form of electromagnetic wave. So this theory we have used in while constructing LEDs here. Also we know that here electrons that are in conduction band, holes that are in valence band, and if any electron will make its journey from conduction to valence band, then a difference of energy that will release, and that will appear in forms of energy. Or there can be actually a different form of some in some metals, or in some elements it can be in the form of thermal energy, or in some energy for some elements it can be in form of lights also. So for LEDs there are certain elements that can, or certain materials that we can use to fabricate it. Later I will tell you, but still I think the working of the principle of LEDs, that is clear to you. They are here we are using the spectroscopic principle. Simple. If any electron that is making transition from conduction to valence band to fulfill the position of hole, or you can say that whenever an electron and hole recombines, then a difference of energy that is released, that appears in form of electromagnetic radiation. So we are using this principle to construct an LEDs, and for that we need what? We need charge carriers, because here charge carriers are recombining, and we know that in case of n-type materials we have majority carriers that are electrons. In case of p-type materials, here majority carriers that are holes. So here what is the concept? That is also we are using the concept of minority carriers here, but still we need a number of charge carriers here. So that's why you know that number of charge carriers we can obtain only in case of forward bias, because in reverse bias before breakdown there is no the even number of charge carriers are less than in case of forward bias, because there the current that is obtained that is of the order of microampere. So here for this case we can use only forward bias characteristics. First of all, I think this is clear to you, and let's see its working, how it works, how energy can be appeared in this form. So here we know that in case of n-type materials electrons are there, and in case of p-type materials holes are there. Clear? So when a forward bias is applied to this, then obviously you know that this due to this forward biasing, this positive terminal that will attract these electrons, the negative terminal that will attract these holes. So in this way this electron will travel to the direction of the p side. It will cross the junction, it will travel in this side, and also that holes will travel in case of here. So in this case we can see that the number of minority carriers that in the n type, that are holes, that increases, and number of minority carriers in case of p, that is increasing. You can see it here. Number of minority carriers, that is increasing because electrons are going to here and holes are here. So obviously number of holes is increasing, number of electrons is increasing here. So we can easily say that number of minority carriers that are increasing, and these number of minority carriers recombine with the majority carriers of n type material. Whenever they exceeds or in equal way, they recombine, and finally after recombination of holes and electrons here and here, a release of energy that takes place, and this release of energy appears in form of lights, and that can lie in the range of electromagnetic radiation that depends on the frequency or wavelength of the light emitted. So I think the working, that is very easy here. The working is very simple. Here number of electrons are here, number of holes are here, they are crossing the junction, and due to cross of junction they recombines with the minority carriers. Means these mean minority carriers recombine with the majority carriers of p, and these minority carrier here minority carriers recombine majority carriers of here, and finally a light a radiation appears here due to their recombination, due to release of energy here. So guys, I think the process of LED, that is clear to you already. Here what we use, what is the process here. And if now this radiation is emitted here, then this radiation can be dependent on the frequency or wavelength that is emitted. So that frequency or wavelength, that is given by equal to hc upon lambda. So as the band gap energy, the as energy that is emitted, that is equal to band gap, and that band gap can be given by hc by lambda, or we can calculate what is the value of lambda here. So and that depending on this lambda, the color will be emitted here. So these two things are constant. This is Planck constant, this is velocity of light or electromagnetic wave. Then in that case these two things are fixed. Then what on which factor the wavelength is depending on, or color of light, that will depend. This will depend on this energy band gap, and we know that for different types of materials the energy band gap, that is different. So in that case if we are using different types of material, then different colored light we can use. And you have seen that we LEDs that are available in market, that are of different colors, like we are using white LED, we are using red LED, yellow LED, green LED. So all these colors, that depends on the factor, that is the band gap. So for this we are using the different materials to fabricate an LED, get LED devices or PN junction devices for the fabrication of LEDs. So I think guys, the construction working principle of LEDs, that are totally clear to you. So first of all, what types of material we can use to construct or fabricate LEDs? So in case of LEDs, first of all, let's start from germanium and silicon. We have two types of materials. For extrinsic type materials, we are using to fabricate the PN junction diode or fourth group element, that is germanium or silicon. So in case of germanium and silicon, it's due to its band gap, whenever an electron and holes that recombines, the energy actually does not appear in form of light, but it will appear in form of thermal energy. So here for that region, if it is appearing in form of thermal radiation, then we cannot use the silicon or germanium to fabricate our LEDs, because there is no emission of light takes place in this case, and only thermal energy that will emit here. And if we are using something materials that is like gallium phosphide, gallium arsenide, or gallium arsenide phosphide. So this material, three material helps us to fabricate easily an LEDs, as the band gap of these lies in range of light or visible light or electromagnetic radiation. And also when we are using to construct or fabricate LEDs with the help of these types of material, then different colored lights is obtained. In this case means emission of light takes place here. As in case of silicon and germanium, most of the energy that appears in form of energy, but here most of the energy after the recombination of electrons and holes that appears in form of light. So we can use the these types of material to fabricate LED. So it is also very important to choose the material to construct the LED. Even before means some years ago scientists was trying to construct the blue LED, and even they have constructed it. Scientists got Nobel Prize for this also. You can see the history for that, because it is also a challenge for us on which types of material we can use to produce certain type of light here. Like if we want to produce purple light, we want to produce orange light, then which types of material we can use, so that the band gap can do with the help of band gap the wavelength can be obtained that will lie in particular that region. You know that for the white light or for different colors of light, the wavelength and frequency range it here, and if that frequency or wavelength that is emitted by, you can standardized by this formula. So this wavelength if lie in that region, suppose this is lying in the region of red, the red color will obtain. Lying in the region of blue, blue color is obtained. So that will totally depend on this energy band gap, means the material we are using to fabricate it. So different types of material we have to use, and even we are working still to construct different colors of LEDs again. And even scientists have worked a lot for creating these colors while using these types of materials. So these three types of material we use the most to construct or to fabricate LEDs. In case of gallium arsenide, the radiation that emits that lies in case in terms of in the region of infrared. So whenever we use gallium arsenide to fabricate an LED, then the light emitted that the radiation that emitted that light lies in the range of infrared radiation. But when we are using gallium phosphide and gallium arsenide phosphide, then in that case the light or radiation emitted here that lies in the case of visible light, and here the light obtained that is red or green, and here red or yellow light that is obtained. So different colored light we can obtain in the case of different types of material in which are using. So this is the basic principle behind the LEDs. I think guys you have understood now why we have to use certain types of material to construct LEDs, to fabricate LEDs. And now the reason why we can't use it in reverse bias, as the reason is that while fabricating LEDs, the breakdown potential is very low, so that LEDs can work even at low potentials. For most of the LEDs it is like 5 volt 6 volt, means they can just blow at 5 volt or 6 volt supply. So if breakdown potential is very low, in that case if reverse bias junctions we are using, then LEDs can be destroyed for that. So we don't have to use LED in while in case of reverse bias. Otherwise obviously there will be no emission of light while we are using it in reverse bias, and even if we have connected it, then due to low breakdown potential it will destroy it. So that's why we don't have to use it in reverse bias. strictly we have to use LEDs in case of forward bias. I think you have understood the reason also here while why we are doing so. So I think the process of LEDs, that is totally clear, and also there are some conditions or restrictions we have to use. Like I have told you that we have to connect a resistor in series while fabricating LEDs, while connecting LEDs. The reason behind is that there is a certain limit of resistance, or you can say that there is low resistance for the to the limit of current in case of LEDs. So to provide safety, to provide better stabilization, we need to connect a resistance, because you know that resistance stabilize the current in the circuit. So that's we need to provide the sufficient resistance there also, because here there is low resistance in case of for LEDs, as we are using it in forward bias. So reason is that to provide a sufficient to resistance to the circuit, we need to connect a resistor in series with it. So the reason is that, I think clear, it is also clear to you. The second factor is that if suppose that if I ask to you what how can we change the intensity of light that is emitting here in case of LEDs, as the actually this color depends on the frequency, but and also the band gap or wavelength that is emitting here. But still if we want to change the color of light, then we want what to change here, we have to change the frequency or wavelength, you can say that. And if frequency or wavelength we have to change, we have to change the material for that. So if we change the different materials, then due to material difference, we can change the frequency or wavelength or different colors of radiation. But still, if we want to change the intensity of radiation, suppose that we want an intense light from the LEDs that we are fabricating, then for that we need a large number of charge carriers. Obviously it's very simple, and a number of charge carriers, you know, that is dependent on the intensity. So here the factor that can affect the intensity of emission of radiation, that will be totally dependent on the charge carriers, and charge carriers can be increased by doping in case of p-n junction diode. So based on the doping, intensity is depending on. So if we use the high doping, then there will be high intensity of radiation that is emitting. So this the factor that can affect an LEDs, that is, I think, totally clear. And even the application of LEDs where we can use the LEDs, that is, you know that already nowadays we are using the LED lights at our homes in case of while constructing the 7 segment systems, like for the case of calculator or any means keyboards, we are using this, and also we are using LEDs and the traffic lights. Even we are constructing this time LEDs for in the for the television screen and other things. So this continuously we are just exploring the use of the LEDs, and nowadays it is very famous. Actually, the LED lights are very famous, and we are using it. The reason is that actually it needs low voltage to operate, first of all, and even the fabrication is very easy, and also cost is very low. So the reason behind it to use the LEDs for the production of light uh, we are nowadays, this is due to the reason that due to their stabilization property, due to their low fabrication cost, easy fabrication, and also materials that through that we are constructing that are available easily. So that's why we use it for this. Clear? So I think the process of LEDs, guys, totally that is clear. So still we have when discuss the case of solar cell today. In next class we will discuss the solar cells and its principle, working, and other things. So I think the case we have discussed for the LEDs, that is totally clear here. I think there is no confusion at all in that. So I think everything is clear. Then let's end the chapter. Guys, study well and do hard work for your examinations continuously. Okay, so let's end the class here, guys. Thank you.